Welcome all. We have already started our fourth lesson, that is nutrition in living organisms. So we have already seen how actually the nutrition, what is the process of nutrition, which are the types of nutrition, how is the transport system actually taken or carried out in plants. So now we are going to see the types of nutrition. From the first of it is the symbiotic nutrition. Symbiotic nutrition means what? One thing you should remember, two or more plants, they are staying together on one host plant. Host plant means, yes, the one who is conducting, the one who is carrying out the minerals and water from the root, that particular plant, these two plants are growing on it. And what are they doing? They are help, helping each other in fulfilling their nutrition need. They are helping each other to give out the protection and support. Such type of nutrition is said to be a symbiotic nutrition. So you can see in the definition itself, in some cases two or more than different types of plant live together to fulfill their need of nutrition, protection, support, etc. with the help of others. This type of nutrition is called as symbiotic. Now you should understand one thing, fungi and algae. What are they doing? Fungi means in Marathi we called as burshi, and algae means shewal. These two are, one is giving out the minerals and one is giving out the water to it. So the fungi provides the water and minerals as well as shelter. In return, algae gives the food to fungi. So it is like give and take. You will give me this part, so I am supposed to give you that part. It is the give and take between the fungi and algae. The combination of them is like the lichen. It is one type of plant which is consisting of fungi and algae, and it is one example of symbiotic nutrition. If anyone have asked you which plant is an example of symbiotic nutrition, your answer will be lichen. Okay, the next part from this is heterotrophic plants. These plants are also said to be as parasitic. Like heterotrophic means what? Yes, the one which is dependent on others. Same way, what is mean by parasitic? Now they don't consist of chlorophyll. Parasitic means the plants which are dependent on other plants for food purpose or for nutrition purpose. You can see over here, the plants that grow on the body of other plants to obtain the food is called as parasitic plants. For example, Loranthus and Cuscuta. Okay, due to the absence of chlorophyll, the Cuscuta is completely dependent on the host plant. So actually in this Cuscuta or this Loranthus plant, the chlorophyll is absent, and that is the reason they are totally dependent on host plant, and they are said to be as parasitic plant. Now they have told you about insectivorous plants. Insectivorous plants mean, generally you are knowing, sometimes the plants are having deficiency of nitrogen in them. They require nitrogen, so some plants are satisfying their need of nitrogen by consuming the insects. So few plants such as Drosera burmani, it is one of the insectivorous plant. You can also know as Venus flytrap. It is also an insectivorous plant. What does they do? They are, whenever the insect is nearby them, their insect get attracted to the color, to the smell, and that is why they go and sit on that flower. And later this flower, the upper area is little sticky, they get stick to it and they cannot move from it, and these plants consume that insects. Okay, so this Drosera burmani is named after the scientist Johannes Burman, who have identified this plant in Sri Lanka in 1737, and after him this plant was named. It is actually the green in the leaves are attractively pink and red in color with a hair like margin to it, and they are specifically known for attracting the insects. Okay, now saprophytic plants. What are saprophytic plants? Yes, you are knowing the example like mushroom. Yes, they are growing on the dead or the decaying organisms, decaying body of any of the organisms, they are growing on it. So the plants which obtain that food from the dead or decay organisms are said to be a saprophytic. For example, mushroom, you can see mushroom is growing on the wood which is not connected to the tree. So these are the example, mushroom, yeast are some of the saprophytes. So they are known to be as saprophytic plants. So we have seen just now three types. One was heterotrophic, another was symbiotic, and the third one was saprophytic. And the one which we have studied in heterotrophic was the parasitic plant. Okay. Now one thing they have told you, food is getting spoiled due to the growth of some fungi in it. We are knowing there is a microbial growth in the food, and that is reason the food is getting spoiled. Yeast and some mushrooms are useful for us. Yeast is also used in the fermentation process for making breads. You are knowing the breads and the idlis which you are eating, it is little fluffy like. So what is the main process? Yes, it is fermentation. It is carried out by the by the help of some of the microorganisms or bacteria. They are said to be as yeast. Okay, the mushrooms are rich source of iron and vitamins. You are supposed to get good amount of iron and vitamins from these mushrooms. Now they have given you few of the nutrients, and what are the effects and the deficiency on plant. If they are present, what will be the effect, and if they are not present, what will be the effect on that particular plant. Their functions are also mentioned and the effects are also mentioned. I'll just read out. Nitrogen, it is useful in important component of protein and chlorophyll and cytoplasm. It increases the level of chlorophyll, cytoplasm and protein in a plant, and if it is not present, the plant growth will be retarded or stunned. Stunned means it will be not growing well, it will stop at one particular stage, and the yellowing of the leaves you can see very common. Like phosphorus, they have told you the conversion, it converts the light energy into chemical energy. The light energy of the sun, it is converting it into chemical energy. Means what? It is helping to make out the food. If it is not present, phosphorus is not present, then the early leaf fall, or there will be slow growth of the roots. If potassium is not present, necessary for metabolic activities. Actually potassium is helping out in the metabolic activities. Now metabolic means what? Yes, the movement, but actually plants are not moving, so the movement of the xylem and phloem, the transport system goes on well. If it is not present, the weak stem, wilting of leaves, failure to produce carbohydrates, so it will be not efficient, or it will be not enough to produce the carbohydrates in that particular plant. Magnesium, what is the use of magnesium? Magnesium and iron are doing the same function. They both are producing chlorophyll, and their deficiency is also common, that is yellowing of leaves. Manganese, it is helping in to build or produce the main plant hormone, and if it is not present, there will be retarded growth. Retarded growth means the growth will stop at one particular stage, it is not supposed to grow big or more. Zinc, it is used for again producing the hormone, and if it is not present, there will be retarded growth. So these are the few nutrients, their effects, and also their deficiency on the plant. Now we have seen the nutrition in plants. Now we are going to see the nutrition in animal. One thing you should remember, which are the various nutrients in food. The various nutrients such as carbohydrate, fats, vitamins, proteins, minerals, these all are necessary and important nutrients. And what are they useful for? Yes, they are useful for giving out us energy, for resisting us from the diseases. It is also looking after the wear and tear of our body. It is looking after the dead T cells and tissues. Okay, so the thing is like nutrition, we are knowing the process of nutrition, but in animals the process starts from ingestion to addition. What is actually it? We will just see, it is given in the yellow color box. Ingestion means what? The food, it is taken into the body. Yes, now you are taking the food by the help of your mouth, so that mouth or the process of taking in the food is called as ingestion. Now digestion means what? Yes, that food is later getting converted into the soluble form. It is getting converted into soluble form. There it is said to be as digestion. Absorption, what actually absorption means? The soluble food, it is getting transferred to blood, it is getting converted into blood. Assimilation means this blood, whichever or whatever the food you have ate, the nutrients have been transferred to the cells and tissues, and later the energy is produced. Means assimilation means what? It is doing the proper work or proper distribution of these nutrients. And egestion means what? Yes, it is removing out the waste. In simple example or simple word, you can say as excretion, the removal of the waste products and undigested from food from your body. Ingestion means what? The process of taking in the food, and egestion means what? To remove out the food. Now the types of nutrition in animals. Now you can clearly see in this amoeba. Now your diagram is mentioned over here. Yes, I hope you can see this clearly. Yes, this is the amoeba which is present. There are no organs present in amoeba. It is like spreaded, and that is a food particle. Red color one is a food particle. Slowly if you see, the amoeba is spreading from the both the sides of that particle, and it is trying to catch the particle between it. If you see again further, it have totally surrounded that particle, and in the later diagram that particle is consumed by that amoeba. In same way, this is the process of ingestion in amoeba, and the size of amoeba later increases by same. It is a single cell organism. Now, insects have mouth parts for ingestion of food. For example, insects like cockroach and grasshopper, which nibble, have jaw-like mouth parts. Butterflies suck the food with the help of tube-like proboscis. Now you are knowing, or you are familiar with the mosquitoes. They are having a needle, pointed one, which is inserting in our body, and they are sucking out the blood. Yes, the mosquitoes are doing that work. Same way, some of the insects are also having a needle-like mouth part which they are inserting in us, and then they are removing out the blood, or then they are sucking out the blood from our body. Okay. Depending upon their food types, the animals are classified as, first one is herbivores. Herbivores means we are knowing the herbivores are the one which are dependent on plants for their food. For example, like the one who are eating grass, the one who are eating fruits, the one who are eating the leafy, like the grasses which are present, they all are said to be as herbivores. For example, the deer. Okay. Carnivores, the carnivores are also said to be as predators. They are dependent on the flesh of other animals. So they are carnivores. They are not directly coming in contact with plants, but they are indirectly coming in contact with plants. How? Carnivores are eating herbivores, and herbivores are eating plants. Okay. Then is omnivores. We are coming under this. The one who are eating both plants and animals for their food. They are said to be as omnivores, such as monkey, chimpanzee, and human. Now, depending upon the perform of cleaning the environment, there are two more classification. One is scavengers. Now you have seen sometimes the dead animals are being eaten by the eagle or the vultures. What they are doing when they are roaming in the sky, they are flying up in the sky, they are observing which of the animal is dead, and later they are consuming or eating it. So scavengers are the same. They are dependent on the body, they are dependent on the dead organisms for their food, dead bodies of an animals for their food. And decomposers means what? Yes, the one which is helping in decomposition. For example, the microorganisms which are helping in decomposition are said to be as decomposers. Now, saprozoic nutrition. What I mean by saprozoic nutrition? First one, we have seen the types of nutrition. We have started from it. We have seen based on their food stuff how they are classified. Saprozoic nutrition means what? The some insects or unicellular animals obtain their nutrients by absorbing the liquid from the dead bodies of other animals. Yes, if there are dead bodies present, not dead bodies of a human being, like any of the animals or any of the small insects, though they are absorbing all the liquid part which is present in their body. So such type of animals or such types of insects are said to be a saprozoic nutrition. For example, house flies, then ants, spiders, etc. Now parasitic nutrition. Parasitic nutrition, it is classified into two types. Parasitic means, you should know first thing, who is totally dependent on others. Now it is two types. One is endoparasitic and another is ectoparasitic. What is endo and what is ecto, that you should understand. Ecto means what? It is living on the surface, body surface of an animal. For example, cow, if you have seen, there are small insects present on the cow body, or in your hair also you are having the lice. Okay, so you can also say it as lice. The lice which is present in your hair, in Marathi we call them as wa. They are sucking the blood from your body, and the bed bugs are also coming under it. Such of the animals are coming under ectoparasitic nutrition, and some of them like tapeworm and roundworm which are present inside our body, and they are obtaining their food from our body itself, they are said to be as endoparasitic. The examples of this endoparasitic are tapeworm and roundworm. And for ectoparasitic, there are bedbugs, tick, lika, louse means ua. Okay, these are, and some of them are present on the animal body also, cow or buffalo's body. So here I hope your lesson is over. I hope you have understood this. Question answers of this lesson will be given on the next Monday. Thank you.